Hello my lovelies, welcome back to another video. My name is Gemma and today we're going to do my August Kindle book haul part 2. So if you didn't see part 1, you'll see I have no self-control and I bought so many books I had to split this video into 2. So I shall link part 1 in the cards above if you haven't seen it yet. And yeah, we've got quite a few books to talk about again today, so I'm just gonna crack straight on. Also, this is the first video that I'm filming with my new bookshelves in the background. It's what I would call minimalist still at the moment, but it's better than a blank wall, hey? So, so right, book number 1 that I bought, well, book number 16 technically that I bought in August, but book number 1 for this part of the haul is The End of Men by Cristina Sweeny-Baird. Now this one sounded really interesting. I haven't seen it get that much hype. I did see one review on Facebook for it earlier today, which is the first review I've seen for it, but it sounds really interesting. It's about a virus that basically just wipes out the male population, and so women have to try and find a cure to it, and obviously it has implications on politics and everything. Well, every part of the world where males dominate, basically, which is quite a chunk of it really still, even in these modern days. So yeah, very interested to pick that one up. Obviously it might be a bit close to the bone with the whole pandemic situation for some people, but yeah, doesn't really bother me, so I'm going to pick that one up pretty soon. The next one I purchased was The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Eugenides. Now this was made into a film many years ago, I believe, starring Kirsten Dunst. I've never seen it. I don't really know anything about it apart from it follows, I think it's 5 sisters and they all commit suicide, assumingly before they have sex. And then it's about one of the girls' friends who then tries to work out why they all killed themselves in their younger years. So it sounds interesting. Obviously there's going to be some trigger warnings in there, so yeah, but interested to pick it up and then possibly try the film after I've read it. One of those people, I can't watch the movie before I've read the book, if at all possible, because it just grates on me. It's just no. The next one that I picked up was The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. So this has had loads of hype and buzz this year. Set in the 18th century, and it follows a little apothecary that sells effectively poisons to women so that they can bump off men who are not very nice. So but something happens and the apothecary gets found out, and then it all goes to hell in a handbag, I think. But it's split timelines, so you've got sort of a modern day person trying to figure out what happened with this secret apothecary. So really looking forward to reading it, because even though I've seen loads of hype, I haven't actually seen that many reviews for it. So if you have read it, then let me know what you thought below, obviously without any spoilers, because otherwise I'll cry. So yeah, keen to pick that one up. Then I purchased The Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead. This one is longlisted for the Booker Prize this year and is also a split timeline. So in the historical timeline, we're following a young woman who becomes an aviator. She decides to try and fly the Great Circle, so fly around the world, but before she gets back she gets lost. And then the modern timeline is a young woman who's trying to figure out what happened to her. So I quite like, you know, women going off and doing jobs that they didn't really get an opportunity to do, particularly in the past. So we'll definitely give that a go, and it's one of the ones that I was more interested in from the Booker list. So yeah, purchased that one also. Then I picked up The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker. This one is reasonably well known. I think it was longlisted or shortlisted for the Women's Prize a couple of years ago, and this is a retelling of the Trojan War, but I think it focuses predominantly on the perspective of Perseus, who was Achilles' sex slave, basically. So yeah, interested to pick that up. I know it had mixed reviews. A lot of people said 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes was better because it was more the women's voices, but I'm still interested to pick this up just to get a different view. And it sounds like this is going to be a more flowing story, whereas 1,000 Ships is lots of little snippets from different characters that painted a bigger picture. So yeah, it'll be a good one to pick up. And also there's a second one of hers that has come out recently, the name of which I can't remember, but it's sort of a continuation of this story. I do actually have an e-arc for, so I'd quite like to read them both sort of back to back if possible. The next book I picked up was The Bean Trees by Barbara Kingsolver. I've been meaning to read some Barbara Kingsolver for a while. So she wrote The Poisonwood Bible, which I really want to read, but this one popped up on Kindle deal, so I was like, oh, I'll give that a go. And it sounds really intriguing. It's about a young girl who sort of tries to escape her life in Kentucky in the US, and as she's escaping, she somehow manages to inherit a little 3-year-old Native American girl. I believe the main character has some Native American heritage, and it's about them fleeing and how they do that, I suppose. The story goes from there, but it sounds really interesting. And yeah, I'm certainly keen to pick up a few more books looking at Native Americans and that sort of thing. I have They're There by Tommy Orange on my shelf, which is an Own Voices novel. So yeah, any Native American authors that you recommend, put them below. Obviously I know Barbara Kingsolver is not Native American, but any stories that sort of tell their tale, please drop them below. That would be great. So after that I picked up Blue Ticket by Sophie Mackintosh. This is a dystopian. I do like myself a dystopian, I have to say, and this one is in a world where women or young girls on the first day of their period are given a ticket. They're either given a blue ticket or they're given a white ticket. And if they're given, I can't remember quite which way around it is, one of the colours means that they go put babies out. The other colour means they can go and like have a career, one or the other. And it follows the main protagonist, who obviously gets a ticket, possibly a blue ticket from the name of the book, fucking Sherlock, and she doesn't think she's got the right colour ticket for her, and it's about that. So it sounds quite interesting premise, particularly for someone who is both a mother and someone with a career. I find it quite interesting. So yeah, we shall see. Next, I purchased Sarum by Edward Rutherford. So this sounds epic. Obviously I picked it up on my Kindle, so I don't know how many pages it is, but I'm guessing it's a bit of a chunker, because it covers 5 families from the Ice Age to modern day. So got a fair whack to go at there. 5 families alone is quite a big undertaking, but then over hundreds of centuries. It'd be interesting to see how he pulls that off. I have no other information apart from that, but it sounded so ambitious a task that I thought, yes, I'll have a go at that. Next up was House of Correction by Nicki French. I'll be honest, I don't really know too much about it. I think it's about a woman who's in prison for murdering someone, but she can't really remember what happened, that sort of trope. That on its own would not have hooked me in. It's only the fact that April from Getting Hugger With It, I'll link her channel below, goes on and on about Nicki French and how good she is. So going to give it a go. I'm going to go with this one because it was 99p. There's a theme, but but yeah, so pick that one up. So we'll see if it meets expectation. Then I picked up another thrillery book, The Dry by Jane Harper. This has had a lot of good reviews. And I don't know too much about this one. Again, broadly, it's set in Australia, which interests me. And the back story is that there's been a drought for 2 years. So everyone's pretty pissed off. Tensions are running high and shit goes down. That's obviously not what they wrote on the back, but that's the summary that I'm going to give. So yeah, we shall see. The next one that I purchased was The Ren Hunt by Mary Watson, purely on the recommendation from Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction, who says this is like the most underhyped book on the planet. I don't know too much about it. I think it's about a girl who has to enter an academy undercover, and there may be some enemy to lovers sort of stuff, and it's like this kingdom versus that kingdom maybe. So yeah, we shall see. But if it's recommended by Ashley, then I trust most of her recommendations. She has pretty similar taste to me, so picked that one up. Next, I grabbed Crier's War by Nina Varela. This one follows, or it's set in a world where automae, so robots, basically, have taken over the world and they have humans as slaves. And I think we follow two perspectives, the like automae princess person and the slave and some slave, a human slave. The human slave wants to kill the princess has something else going on, and then I think it is another enemies to lovers. I'm not against enemies to lovers as a trope as long as it's done well and it's not just, oh, I said one horrible word to you, so you're my enemy now, because that's just dry. So yeah, so I will give that one a go, and I think that's first in a series, with the second one due soonish, or maybe already out, don't know, but we'll give it a go, and if I like it, obviously then I will find out. Next, I picked up The Other Americans by Leila Lalami. This is turning into a BookTube made me do it video, because this one I saw recommended by Grace at GK Reads, and this broadly follows the immigrant experience in America. I think it follows a Moroccan immigrant who either is involved in or witnesses a car crash where an immigrant dies, and then we see the tensions build in their community, and how people come together or come apart dealing with that tragedy. Obviously there's a lot of racial topics covered. I think religion comes into it as well. So yeah, keen to pick that one up. It sounds really interesting, and yeah, I'll let you know if and when I get to it. Circus of Wonders by Elizabeth Macneil was the next one that I added to my ridiculously large TBR, and this has the most beautiful cover. I haven't read any Elizabeth Macneil before, but I know she's a pretty well-loved author, and this one follows a young girl who has some sort of skin pigmentation issue, where she has like white spots on her skin, and her father sells her to the circus and she gets branded as Leopard Girl. She gets shipped off to London, and it sort of goes from there as she becomes quite famous within the circus, and then within London as Leopard Girl. And yeah, I'm quite interested to see where that story will go, because it's an interesting backstory and an interesting premise. Next, I picked up Hostage by Clare Mackintosh. So I have read a couple by Clare Mackintosh. Quite enjoyed, I think I've read two of her thrillers, but they've got really similar names. So, but I quite like them. Quite nice twists that I didn't see coming. Last year I read After the End by Clare Mackintosh, which was completely different, and it was one of my top reads of the year last year, and devastating. I cried pretty much through the whole first half. And so, yeah, I wanted to give this one a go. Obviously, she's going back more to her thriller roots with this one. And it is set over the course of a day or something on a plane. You follow an air hostess who has to choose between the lives of all the passengers on board or her family, I believe. So, yeah, sounds interesting, sounds tense, sounds like it will be a really fast-paced page turner. So, yeah, very keen to pick that up based on what I've read of her before. Okay, we're getting there, guys. 3 more to talk to you about. So the next one on my list is Rivers of London by Ben Aaronovitch. So this is the first in a series. This is a sort of urban fantasy where you've got a bloke who's in the police. He kind of just is a bit of a pencil pusher, doesn't really want to get involved in anything too dramatic. But one day he's asked to go and sort of keep watch of a crime scene, finds himself talking to the dead person, which obviously shouldn't happen because he's dead, and then a wizard, the last wizard in London or something, rocks up and recruits him as an apprentice. So sounds quite a nice story. It sounds like we're going to have quite a sarcastic main character, which I quite like. And yeah, I'd like to pick it up, and obviously if I like it I can carry on. I think it's 5 books in the series, but I could just absolutely be making that up. Then I picked up my first ever Sarah Winman, When God Was a Rabbit. I don't know why I said it like that. This is a book set in the 60s, and it looks at a brother-sister relationship, and they are very close through all their childhood and into adulthood, and then something happens in their 30s that could disrupt their relationship. So yeah, like I say, I've only ever heard good things about Sarah Winman. Obviously she had a new book out this year, Still Life, which has had rave reviews, so I thought I would start here and see what I think. And the last one is another book, Longlister, A Town Called Solace. And this, I think it's multiple perspective. I think we start off sort of back in history where you have 2 sisters and one of them goes missing. A man comes to live next door and he is accused of the crime. But then we have another character, like an old woman, who is recalling in her sort of twilight period a crime that happened in her youth, and those things all come together. Something like that. But yeah, so it sounds a little bit mystery, a little bit of thriller. Obviously it's on the Booker Prize, so it must be relatively literary as well. So yeah, so that's the last one that I picked up in August. I really must try and buy less books on my Kindle next month, because it's getting to be a little bit ridiculous. But BookTube maybe do it. All right, guys, well, thank you very much for coming and listening to my waffle. If you made it to the end of this video, maybe put like the monkey face like this for Gemma, please stop buying books. And thank you very much to everyone who has subscribed to my channel so far. As of today, there are 68 of you. I can't quite believe that many people have clicked the subscribe button just to listen to me waffle on with absolutely no training or like formal education in literature. But I do appreciate it. And yeah, I will see you guys soon for another video. Okay, bye.